Hello there, my name is Okezie from Chidono, and we are going to be looking today at how to set up your ASP.NET MVC project. So, you want to work on an ASP.NET MVC project for the first time and you don't know how to set it up, this is going to be a very helpful guide on the steps that you need to take. So, um, first thing, of course, is to open your Visual Studio. We're making use of Visual Studio 2019, and if it's your first time on working on Visual Studio, you're not going to have anything by the left here. This um, Windows that we have here is called the starter template. This is the starter template, and it's what we see the first time we open Visual Studio. So by the left are a list of recent projects that you've worked on. If you don't have any recent projects, you would not have anything there. And by the right is how you get started. You clone or check out some codes, open a project or a solution, open a local folder, or create a new project. For now, there's nothing here to we are assuming there's nothing here to open because we're about to create one. It's when you have something to open that you can open that up. So let's go ahead. First thing you need to do is to click on the create a new project. Create a new project. So when you go to create a new project, there are several projects that you can work on in your Visual Studio. If you install the Visual Studio 2019 completely, you will have quite a number of projects listed down here. There's several of them for different reasons, different type of project, different languages, different platforms. So searching for ASP.NET MVC maybe tasking. So we would use these options here to narrow down our search. The first is the language here, so we select on the language and select C#. That is, if you're working with C#, if you're working with Visual Basic, you select Visual Basic. So you're working with C#, so we select C#. As for the platforms, you leave it at all platforms. And for the project type, it's going to be web. So you move down where you see web, usually the last on the list. So you select web. When you select web, you see it filters down to the options that you need. So everything that you're seeing here now are web related and also C# related. So we are working on ASP.NET web application.NET framework. That is what we are selecting. That is where you get the framework for the ASP.NET MVC. So this is what we select: ASP.NET web application .NET framework. We're going to have another tutorial on how to use the ASP.NET core web application. So if you select this, so then you click the next, click on next. So here you have the project name. You should give it a nice name. My suggestion, first of all, you don't start naming with a digit, so you don't like say one or first project. It's not always advised. Start naming with letters, and of course we also don't advise that you put spaces when you're naming. So don't say my first project, because by the time you're naming that, when it's done converting, it's going to add underscores to this and you may get confused along the way. So it's better you join those words together, and if it's a new word, you start it with a capital letter. So I can say my first ASP MVC project. Yes. Okay, so and this is the location where your file will be stored. This is in a position where the default position is in a source folder in your local disk. It's not something you easily find. You have to go to your file explorer, go to your disk PC, go to local disk, and you begin to go search for the path, your user and all that before you get there. So if you don't prefer that, you could go to this browse button, and then your file explorer pops up and you select wherever convenient. If you want to use your desktop, you select your desktop. If you want to do wherever you want to do it, you can select it at this point, and that would be where every file as regards this project will be stored. Alright, so when you're done giving it a name that you would want to give it, I like to come to the solution name and add solution to that part. Usually Visual Studio gives the project name and the solution name the same, but it's good to separate it and make it different. The difference between the project name and the solution name is that the solution is the meeting point of different projects in your Visual Studio. You could have different types of projects you're working on that are all related. Maybe working on a web project, on a mobile app, or a desktop app. They could all link to the same project. So what links them is the solution name or the solution, because whenever you want to open that project, it's the solution that is the file that you open. So I usually prefer not to have my solution name and the project name the same, so we change that name. Then this place where we have place solution and project in same directory, we are saying we should have the solution name, the solution and the project name, and the project, forgive me, and the project in the same folder. It's a matter of choice. Usually if you select them, if you check this solution will be inside the folder of this project, but I usually prefer to leave it unchecked so that the solution and the project would be in a house by one folder, rather than if I check it would be the project name that will be housing this solution. But whatever it is, it's your preference. So by the time this video was done, the current .NET framework in Visual Studio 2019 was the .NET framework 4.7.2. Any other one is later than that. So we use the .NET framework 4.7.2, so we don't change that. So then you can go ahead and create. Oops, seems like I have a project with the same name, so I could change it. My first ASP project. I think I have a solution with that same name too. My first ASP project. Then I can go ahead and create. Alright, so now here is the next part where we have to create or select the ASP.NET MVC architecture that we're going to make use of. So usually by the left we have different options. Whenever it is empty, by the right here none of this is checked. So if you select empty and you just create, it's just going to create an empty project for you. So you have to start adding your different references, different files that are related to that. That's not the best thing to choose. If you select web forms, that means you're working with web forms, and we're not working with web forms. What we are working on is ASP.NET MVC particularly. So we select MVC. If you select MVC, the moment you select this MVC, it checks the MVC on the right. Now with this selection, it's going to create an MVC project for you with some default controller and default pages. For someone who is learning, you could use this, but I always prefer to have an empty MVC project. When I select empty here, I check on the MVC here. So what this does is that it's going to create an empty MVC project for me. So the project is going to look exactly the way an MVC project should look like, but it's not going to have some pre-created controllers and some pre-created pages. Rather, it's going to just be empty so that I can have the opportunity to develop my own controller and create my controllers myself and my pages myself. So I select empty, check on MVC by the right, make sure you check on MVC by the right, and this is, if you are working with Docker desktop, you can check this. I don't need to check all this, so I go ahead and create. So when I click on that, it's going to create the project for me, the necessary files that are needed and all that. So you take those steps, and then when it's done creating, we'll come back to that. Alright, so this is like a welcome page. This is what you see when you just done creating the ASP.NET templates. So if you're connected to the internet, these are just references where you could read up some more information. But you could go ahead and close this, and then what you're going to search for is your Solution Explorer. The Solution Explorer is usually by the right here. Mine is down here, the Solution Explorer. You click on it, it pops up here. If for adventure you don't see yours by the right, you can go to Views, and if you click on View, you have your Solution Explorer by, that's the first thing here. The shortcut is Ctrl-Alt-L. So when you click on this, you have your Solution Explorer by the right. Alright, so this shows you all the files that have been created as regards the ASP.NET MVC project. So in another tutorial, we're going to explain what these files mean. So if this video was helpful to you, don't forget to like and click the subscribe button and the notification button so you could get notification on other videos that we're going to upload as regards ASP.NET and as regards web design and computer programming. So thank you very much once again. My name is Okezie from Chidona.